This is your place for all things Grand Rapids Griffins and all things Toledo Walleye. This is the Hockeytown West podcast with your hosts, Brandon Cook, Nick Harrington, and Travis Foch.
Another week in the books, but this one's a little more special because the Griffins are the regular season Central Division champions for the first time since the 14-15 season, the sixth time only since the Griffins have joined the AHL. It's an absolutely beautiful thing to see, to have this division locked down, but obviously the job's not done yet. The Griffins want the conference, they want the league, they want to break every record possible. But the League One is going to be a tough battle when we talk about those Providence Bruins over there. So welcome back to the Hockeytown West podcast, everybody, your source for everything Grand Rapids Griffins and Toledo Walleye hockey. If you're just tuning in for the first time ever, welcome. If you want to make sure you hit that subscribe button or hit follow wherever you're getting these podcasts at. And if you're looking for strictly Red Wings content, even though I think some Red Wings stuff's going to drift into the show today, but if you're looking for Red Wings content, make sure you check out our friends over at the Grindline podcast. Find them at Grindline Pod on all the social medias. You know where to find them at on YouTube there. Doing a little partnership with them, kind of building a little fun thing, a little fun podcast family thing. Who knows what it'll turn into, but we want to make sure we give them the recognition they deserve for the hard work they put in covering the Wings. And some of their takes, you laugh, and some of them you go, yeah, you guys are right. And I remember one that we specifically laughed at heading into the season where someone on that show, I believe it was Greg, said Emmett Finney is going to make the Red Wings out of camp. And I wasn't a part of this episode. You two laughed at him, and look at him. He's laughing at us now. So they know their stuff. They know what they're doing. So make sure you are checking out the Grindline podcast. Boys, we have a ton to talk about today. I know we just did a long Patreon intro that is going to be on Patreon exclusively, about 25 minutes of it. Nick, do you have Kit Kats? Do you happen to have 17 tons of those at your house?
Just one.
I don't believe you at all.
That mound of dirt in the backyard says otherwise, because I know.
Exactly. You weren't in Van Andel Saturday night, so I cannot vouch for where you were. Those pictures you sent me from Flint, I can't verify the timestamp on those. So if you're looking for some Kit Kats, we know a guy. Maybe we'll give some away. Who knows? But we've got a ton to talk about today, boys. And I would jump in and see how all of you are doing. But I know how Travis is doing. He's still recovering from his trip. Nick had a nice, relaxing weekend. But we've got a ton of hockey to talk about. Let's talk about transactions. The first one was a fun one, right? Carter Mazur gets the call to the Detroit Red Wings. We've been saying it for the past couple of weeks. I know this is a quote from Travis directly that, you know, when healthy, he's an NHL player, and he ends up back in the NHL. What did you guys think of this call-up?
Kid's a stud. He deserved it. Came right back from injury. Like, he wasn't gone for 40, 50 games, whatever it was. Like, just picked it up right from where he left off. Remarkable recovery. Came back earlier than what expected, and just, he's crushed it, right? It's a guy that has been putting up points since he's been back. Deserves to call up. Detroit needs scoring. I mean, good for him. I just hope that he comes back, he's healthy, and we're ready to make a big playoff run, and then we never see him again, right? Like, in the nicest way possible, right? Just get his time up there in Detroit, load him back, see him for the exit interviews. See you, Carter. Have a great career in Detroit.
I think the best way to describe it was what Prospects has been tweeting, Red Wings Prospects, the return. Yeah, it's just, I was so stoked. I like you said, I said that, a month ago? He's an NHL player when he's healthy. Like, to miss that much time, come back and do what he's done. It's just, he's a really good hockey player.
Yeah, he's a good all-around player that can really do it all. You know, you come back from injury, you played 9 games, you get 7 goals, 2 assists. On the season alone, you played 14 games and have 15 points. It's obvious that he deserved that opportunity. So we were sad to see him go, but obviously, like, if the Wings don't make it or they're knocked out early, we know we'll get him back for the playoffs, and that's great for us. And like Nick said, that's probably the last time we'll see him in a Griffins uniform, and that's as it should be. That's the whole point of the Griffins in the AHL, is to get them ready to go make that next step. And we've loved being able to interview him all these years and watch him play here, but we're going to prefer watching him in a winged wheel at this point. That's obvious. Until, you know, he's got a cup to hoist here first in GR before that, and I think that would be the perfect way to cap it off for him before he starts his NHL career. There was another call up to Detroit that I think surprised some. I think it's kind of what we expected to see if it came down to it for goaltending, but Michael Postava got the call up and unfortunately didn't play a game. And I think if you ask me personally, I think that he should have started that second game of the back-to-back, but I'm not the coach. I'm not the GM. I'm not making those decisions. But The question outside of that, because obviously his numbers in this league, he's earned that call up. His numbers are fantastic. If he was in the qualification for statistics in the American League by playing a certain amount of minutes, he'd be in the top 5 of all goalie stats right now. So obviously deserves the opportunity. But did Detroit drop the ball by not having either him or Cossa play games in the NHL earlier this season, so they knew what they had when it came up to this point where you have faced with a back-to-back and you've got to put a goalie that's, I mean, let's be real, Gibson's just getting worked right now. And you had to put him in back-to-back nights and expect him to backstop a team that looks slow. Did they screw that up?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We said this in the beginning when Cossa was on such a hot streak in the beginning of the season. We said he needs to have games. We need to get him games before the end of the season. He has to go up. He has to get played. And never happened. Never happened. And we're like, all right, well, I guess the plan with him is to get as many games as possible in the AHL, which he has, right? A little surprising, right? That Postava got the call, I would say, over Cossa. I think it's still, I mean, Cossa hasn't been playing as well as Posty has. It's still kind of an interesting route though of, what are we doing? Right? Like, are we bringing these kids up to like, hey, you're doing great. We want you to keep doing what you're doing. Or is it where you're actually going to get playing time, right? You're going to see NHL shots. You're going to see NHL practice. You're going to see what the organization looks like up here.
I will say with that, because I think that was the big question mark, right? Why was it not Cossa? And Bob Kaiser mentioned it on the Thursday broadcast when they were in Cleveland that that night in Cleveland was supposed to be Postava's start. The goal was to give Cossa a little bit of a break. He had a couple back-to-back tough outings against Milwaukee. The Griffins' schedule where they were playing 6 games in 9 days, traveling all throughout those was brutal. Obviously, they want him locked in for these important games that are coming up in the playoffs. So the whole idea was to give him a break. So when you peel it back and don't just think, oh, it's because his numbers, his performance, or whatever, and you realize the big fella's just tired, that's the right move to go about it. Because, I mean, even when Posty got the call up, obviously Carter Gylander comes up from Toledo, and we see that he ends up starting that game in Cleveland, which we're going to talk about here later on. And everyone went, oh, God, what is Cossa battling something? What's going on? Is his performance making Detroit question him? No, the big guy just needed a break. And I think we can all relate to that.
Yeah, I agree. I think, too, like the comment on your Twitter, you personally were like, I wish Posty would have started, right? It would have been great, right? The comment on yours was, well, we need scoring. And I'm like, you can't also give up 5 goals. I would have liked to have seen Posty play while he was up there, give him a taste. Insight's, what they say is hindsight, right? 2020 or whatever it is. You don't know until after, right? Maybe Gibson could have stole one, right? Or Posty could have stole one.
Go with the hot hand. Like, his hand's hot right now. Look at his performance in GR. You took him away from us and he didn't get to play against the Chicago Wolves. And I think he actually might be the rightful owner of the Chicago Wolves this season. You call up a guy like that he's a prospect. He is young. We didn't know what we were getting with him when we got him. He's extremely talented. He's been extremely fun to watch. And not that Gibson is to entirely blame on that loss, right? The team just didn't play well. Sometimes you need a goalie that can come in and steal a game. And Posty's playing like a goalie that might be able to come in and steal a game that the Wings should not win. He might have been able to give him that opportunity.
Well, to kind of go back to the original question, they really, I think, fumbled it when Cossa went up and didn't play that night. Like, they had every opportunity to do it, and they ended up losing the game. Granted, Talbot did play relatively well that night. Not great, but it's just to the point to where, like, you have to figure out what these guys are at some point in the season. Because, like, if Talbot would have been hurt, you're now going Gibson. If it would have been long term, they're probably calling him Cossa, I think.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
if it's a long term injury, they're going to go Cossa. When they said that it was going to be short term, and then they announced Postava, like, that makes sense, right? They need a guy just to back up. Like, makes no sense to just call up Cossa for a day or two. Like, it's just one of them deals to where it's probably not the best option. And Cossa ended up playing over the weekend, right? And Saturday.
Yeah, he ended up playing Saturday night against Chicago. Yep.
So, yeah, and if it was already a scheduled start for Postava, like, yeah, Gyro's an hour away. Like, hey, can you run over to Cleveland and play for us quick? Like, scheduling-wise, it worked out great for Grand Rapids, to be honest. But as a whole, yeah, I think Cossa probably should have had at least 5 to 10 games at minimum this year in the NHL, I think. Just, they have to see what they have, because now look what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, MSU's out, where now you have another potential guy coming in. Like,
Yeah, I was going to say that's the next topic on my list here is that the Trey Augustine watch is in full effect, waiting for him to sign that ELC. Obviously, we're going to talk a lot about Trey at some point during this episode. We're not going to do it here. We asked our listeners for questions that we could answer later on in the show, and there was quite a few about Mr. Augustine. So we'll save the in-depth talk about Trey until later on in the episode, but it is interesting that we get to sit here and kind of watch and see what unfolds and where he lines up and ends up. I don't know. When I peeled that back the entire story, I wish they would have handled this differently all season. I really do wish that they would have just said, screw it. Let's have some fun. Let's see what Postava can do. Here you go, kid. You're starting tonight. And who knows what could have happened. It could have been the same results or it could have been a win. But at the same time, like, what's the worst that happens? You throw him in, he lets in 3 in the first period. Okay, well, at least you gave Gibson a period off. He's not playing 6 periods of hockey. He's only playing 5 now. Maybe he'll be a little bit more relaxed in there. And then you got Talbot backing him up, who just came off these random injuries that keep happening, not in game. Like, just let him rest up. If you're going to make the playoffs and you want both goalies ready to go, you just got to rest him up a little. Just use the opportunity while you have this 24-year-old with an extremely hot hand right.
It's hard too because Gibson had such a good, was it December, where he was like Vezina candidate pretty much? Like he had turned it on. So it's like, all right, where do you fit Cossa in on this? And we are having such a good time down here with him. He was performing like lights out. So it's hard to mess up the mojo, right? Like you've got a good thing going. Why change it? But now we're in the situation where it's like, boy, maybe he should have gotten more time up there February, March, right?
It's tough to say. And like you said, hindsight's 2020. We'll never know, but I still feel like they screwed it up big time. On to the next transaction on the list here. Carson Bantle and Alex Doucette were assigned to the Toledo Walleye after Thursday's game in Cleveland, which kind of surprised us all. We didn't expect to see any type of transaction like that. I know, Trav, you and the Walleye fans were absolutely pumped to see them come down for a few games. Obviously, they need to play 5 to qualify for the playoffs down there, which there's still plenty of time for that to happen. Yes, they've been recalled to Grand Rapids since they played their first 3 games in Toledo this season, which we'll talk about their performances down there on our Toledo Walleye episode later this week. At the same time, the Griffins are heading on the road this week. You call them back up, have the extra guys, I guess is probably the move. And when the Griffins come back home the next weekend, if the play is to truly get them to play 5 games and be qualified down there, I'm assuming you see them come back that weekend.
It's the word you use there is surprising. And I laugh because I think even Dan Watson was surprised about the call based off of your post-game question to him.
Yeah, I asked him, is that the idea? Like, because at the end of the day, if you're thinking a deep run in the AHL playoffs, you don't want these guys just sitting in the press box in Grand Rapids. You want to be able to have them playing games and call them up fresh if you need them. And I asked the question, and he said it was a question for management. We would love to ask that question to management. But at the same time, he did provide basically the answer we were looking for. At the same time, you want those guys fresh, you want them playing. But at the same time, yeah, we'd love to ask that question to management, Dan. We really would. But here we are, and they're back with the Griffins, at least for this upcoming road trip. And we'll see what happens after that. I know, Travis, you're just praying they come back for those 2 more games, aren't you?
I mean, it's not a praying thing. It's just like a common sense thing. It goes back to Hunter last year. Why send them down if you're not going to do it? Like this late in the year, it just doesn't make any sense.
That's why I think they're coming back when the Griffins are back at home. The roster's getting more full. You're getting guys back. Who knows, by the time they're back home, maybe they'll have Shine back. Who knows? It could possibly happen. So I'm assuming that home stretch, those last 2 home games of the season, you'll probably see Bance and Deuce back in Toledo. Last transaction of the day is Jacob Truscott was reassigned to the Toledo Walleye, which makes sense since Anton Johansson has landed in Grand Rapids and is back with the Griffins, which is always exciting to see. Absolutely love that kid. Love what he brings to the game. The Griffins shared 1 video of him at practice today, and all you see in the middle of the video is him taking Genborg to the boards. And I'm like, all right, yep, Anton's back. And of course, he might be the happiest guy playing hockey. I don't think I've ever seen a player smile as much as Anton Johansson when he's playing hockey.
Maybe Eddie smiles quite a bit too. And
he does.
I know there's a little bit of a bad blood, but I can't say bad blood, but there was an incident this year in the Swedish league where the 2 of them collided pretty bad. So it's good to see them on the same team, fighting the same enemy now, and no risk to each other. But yeah, it's good to see Anton back. Super tall, super happy all the time. Now he's a little bit more adjusted to the time change, the zone, and where Grand Rapids is, how to navigate. So excited to see what he does. And I think it's just crazy. Like I was thinking about it today. I was like, we lost 2 defensemen. We traded Ian Mitchell. We traded Justin Hull. We get Aton. We get ASP, and then we're back at like 8 defensemen now again. It feels like
Not a bad trade off either.
no, not at all.
As much as we like
smart.
those guys and what they did for us this year, you get those 2 young guys in this lineup, and one of them brings ridiculous power play skill, and one brings a ridiculous physical game that also likes to piss people off and cause chaos, which would be great in the playoffs. So, yes, happy to have Anton back in a Griffins uniform. Let's dive into the games next year. We have 3 games this past week to talk about. Yes, we have to go all the way back to last Tuesday to talk about one of them. I know it's old news. I'm sorry, but this is just how the schedule worked with the Griffins playing 6 games in 9 days in our recording schedule. So if you don't want to hear about this game and you already know, just skip ahead a little bit and you get on to the next game. But you got a 5-4 overtime loss against Milwaukee at home with the rescheduled purple game, which was kind of nice to see. They brought $2 beers, $2 dogs, the purple jerseys. They made it just like the original purple game was supposed to be before the ice decided to melt. But at the same time, an overtime loss like this, it was a gutting loss. It was a tough one to swallow, especially when you look at the goal scorer in overtime, who's just had our number over the past few games against this team. Jordan Osterley with the overtime dagger in this one. Nick, I know this is one of the games you got to go to this week. Just give me your overall thoughts before we kind of dive into a couple of the players.
I mean, this is one where you're like, all right, they're more awake, right? They had some time. We're playing Milwaukee. They're gonna go back and win this game, right? And we led the entire time until the overtime. It was just disappointing to end the game that way. Happy to see Eddie, right? That was our first live look at him, and he looked very comfortable. He looked really, really good, to be honest. Very stouted and ready for this.
To clarify, that's Genborg, not Trail Max.
Yeah, because Trail Max was it was a rough outing for him that night. So
it was a frustrating one.
Yeah, very frustrating for Trail, but yeah, for Eddie G, looked good. Looked very comfortable, was really getting his legs under him.
I think my first impressions of him so far after watching him for a couple of games are the kid lives for board battles and plants his butt right in front of the net, and he's not going to get out of the way. And that's 2 things you absolutely love to see from a guy, especially a guy that young, being able to come into this league and do that and kind of impose his will. And there's going to be a play in a game on Saturday that we're going to talk about where he was just absolutely unreal. He's the reason this goal got scored and that win happened. So loving what we're seeing from him. A nice thing we also got to see in this game was Axel's first game back with the Griffins and makes an immediate impact with the Griffins in this one too, with an absolute missile off of his stick from about 10 feet inside the blue line. Axel's first game with big minutes, we should say, since he didn't play big minutes in Detroit. What did you guys see from him in this one?
This is what you wanted from him all year in Detroit, right? Like, this is what everybody was hoping he could provide to the Wings, like high offense, the elusiveness on the blue line, the ability to walk the line, the creative playmaking, stuff like that. And it just shows like his offensive upside. You look at the goal, I mean, just an absolute missile from the back end. Like, I think that's maybe one area that he's worked on. Because like you've seen in the World Juniors and even when he was over in Sweden, like he was in like the Ovechkin spot with that big shot. And this one comes from the top of the umbrella. So a little bit, of growth there. You see that. But just like his like he's just so great with when he has the puck on his stick, he's very good with it. Like he knows what to do with it, where to go, what's the first play, is that not open? He gets to the second option quick. He knows, okay, I got an opportunity to get a shot. He can get the shot through. That's a big thing, right? Like, so incredible to see him come out and just first game, like, you're going to play a lot. You should be excited, right? And you could tell like he had a little pep in his step just to be playing again.
I'm mad. I'm super mad about it, to be honest, because we were robbed about this this amazing player to be able to watch all season down here in Grand Rapids. And he probably would have won the MVP of the league this year if he was here all season. Like the tear that he's been on, has been amazing. Like
3 games, 3 points.
Yeah.
Simmer down a little bit.
Back it up a little, bud.
Whoa.
I get what you're saying.
All right. He would have challenged John Leonard for the MVP of the season. All right.
There you go.
The scoring race. All right. I think he would have. But at the same point, like, Wings fans in the organization want him up there and playing. But I know he came in, he wasn't himself. He didn't seem like himself beforehand. Like with the interviews that he had, I thought maybe he was a little down. And then when we talked to him in the post game, he's like, I just want to play. I think that's all I want to do. I want to play. I want to play. I want to be on the ice. I'm here to play hockey. That's what makes me happy is pretty much just what he had said. He's so shifty. I mean, I don't want to reiterate what Travis said, but he's so shifty. He played so well. He's played confident. Like, he knows what he's supposed to be doing out there. He plays so well with just like instant chemistry too with Lagesson. Like, no complaints for this kid. I'm glad they now he's getting comfortable. He's getting I guess happier because he's playing more, right? So it's good to see, and I think it's just going to continue to skyrocket, to be honest.
Yeah, 100%. Like, him in post game just repeatedly saying, "I'm excited to play." That tells you everything you needed to know. And he's got the right attitude about the approach of this send down. He wants to get stronger. He wants to play. He wants to play big minutes. So it's really exciting when you look at it from a Red Wings fan's perspective, except for the fact that he should have been here to start the year, and maybe this all would look a little different. But I digress. We've talked about that enough this year. But it is really, really nice to get a guy like him back. And even Coach Watson said it, look at what he does in the power play. Look at what an asset he is. I'll give Travis credit. Trav, you said he'd be paired with Lagesson, and that's exactly what we saw. But even in that game, later on in the game, as Dan Watson was playing the blender, just kind of screwing around, figuring out what works, you saw him out there with Gus, and then on the power play too, you called it as well, 2D, him and Gus were on that power play unit together, him running the boards. It made sense.
There was one play that I said to you guys, it was right at the end of regulation. I think it was either regulation or the end of end of regulation, right? When the guy went right through him, I was like, okay, that's why he's here. Like, he still has work to do. And I just want to reiterate, yes, the offense is great, but there are still strides for development in both areas, offensively and defensively.
I'll challenge that, though, with earlier in the game, a beautiful defensive tie-up of Kyle Moreno in front of the Griffins' net. Moreno's way bigger than him, and he was able to keep him tied up, and there was a cross-crease pass opportunity for Milwaukee where Axel got him tied up with his stick legally and, made sure to keep it clean and kept that big man from getting an opportunity to score. That was a defensive masterclass for him, and that's exactly what you want to see against players that size in this league. You want to see him be able to do that and do it consistently. Yes, he did get burned on that play, 100%. It's going to happen. But at the same time, there's the balance of kind of both there, where his bad didn't outweigh his good in this game. It was very well balanced, and obviously the missile into the net helps boost that a little too.
I'll say, too, the consistency part is what's going to be important, too. When we saw Simon, it was very Jekyll and Hyde. Right? Like, we saw really good points of him, and then we saw really bad points from him, and we're like, what is going on? And I think a lot of that too is he was in Detroit. He was getting developed in Detroit. Yanni is a great defensive coach. Like, he's working with those kids. And so he probably would have had those same issue or worse issues here when he started. Not to say Lashoff's, different, wouldn't have been able to coach him up either. But at the same point, he's getting, an NHL coach teaching right up there, and so at a little bit faster pace. So, and they said too with him is he's a sponge. He absorbs and he learns so quick. He's got to get the time. So I don't know. I think he's going to be all right. We probably don't see him after this playoffs, though, to be honest.
The jury's out on that one, right? It's
maybe half.
It's too early to call it. It's too early. Like they should have this year, anyways.
Yeah.
Enough about Axel, because we'll talk about him obviously throughout this week, because he had 3 points this week. The last positive in this game I want to talk about is what I call the John Leonard FU shift, where the Griffins are on a penalty kill. Lenny takes a stick up high, no call. And what's he do? He gets up off the ice and just absolutely lays out Oasis Weisblatt. Couple seconds go by, Lenny gets the puck on his stick, goes the other way, and scores a shorthanded goal right after that. I'm like, what a response to taking a stick up high. Do we need to see that happen more for him to respond like that? Because the hit was I'm not aware that John Leonard had that in him. And the goal was an absolute beauty.
It was you were watching it in real time. You had to slow down for me because I was like, wait, what happened? I was so distracted. And rewatching this, and I think a lot of people probably would have missed this as well. Maybe something we need to probably reshare when this goes out as well. But yeah, just excellent to hit this guy, just go on up. And I think he tied the record for shorthanded goals in the season. I think that's what Randy's
single season record
was.
For shorthanded goals. He has tied that record now. So again, another record set by a player of this incredibly historic Griffins team. And of course, it's John Leonard with the tear that he's been on scoring goals this season. But that was a fun one. I got 2 negatives to talk about in this game. And this is what I wanted to make sure that you both saw the highlight on. This goal frustrated me. It was Milwaukee's 3rd goal. Because you see, Bouillon looks like he's going in to challenge the puck carrier and just backtracks completely and just gives up on it. And they score immediately right after that. to where I looked at you and Elaine and I'm like, what was Bouillon doing on that? Like, was he worried about a guy behind him? There was another Griffins player that stepped in to cover that man. It's just awareness and communication right there. Horrible. And Milwaukee converts on that to tie the game 3-3.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen him just kind of go through the guy, to be honest. Like, obviously with the violence portion of it. I remember seeing this live too, and you were like, what the? And we were both like, what was he doing there? Why did he just stop mid-play, like right in the crease? I don't know what the communication was. Maybe Post told him to back off. I don't know. It's just weird. It's just very weird.
It was a frustrating goal.
I have no idea what the hell he was doing.
Like you played, so you might know this a little bit better, right?
No, like I watched the clip and I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Like that's what, like, if I was a coach, I would literally have said to him, like, what the hell happened out there? Like, the simplest thing is to just go to the player and either make him go around the net or just take him to the boards and take him out. Like, I don't know. I would love to pick his brain to be like, what happened here? Because, like, you could see him commit and then he stops and then he skated backwards away from the guy. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What the hell are you doing?
You can't do that. And that let Milwaukee get this game tied. And I don't want to say that's the game-changing moment because, again, the Griffins didn't play a great game in this one. But at the same time, what could have been if you just take that guy around the net or to the boards, like you said?
Just cut him off, angle him to the boards. Like, don't
just make
let
an
him
attempt on the puck even. Now, you don't even have to play the puck. Make an attempt on the puck.
Yeah, I'm not saying lay the guy out. Like, just stick on puck and
lay
just
him out. Violence.
Edge him in. Well, I mean, everybody loves violence, but I don't think of Shai Bouillon as violence myself. He's got to just stick on puck and just take him to the corner. Like, not even into the corner. It's more or less just cut him off before he gets to the goal behind the net. Like, that's where you should have cut him off. Edge him that way. But yeah, I don't know what the hell happened.
I mean, listeners can look at us and be like, wow, you're really calling out Bouillon when the whole team didn't play great in this. And yes, we are. But at the same time, it's kind of been a collection of different plays recently where you're just scratching your head with Bouillon going, what are you doing? And hopefully this is a great learning experience for him to build off of. Obviously still a very young player, young prospect, missed a lot of time with injury too. So he's still trying to figure everything out at this level. And that's fine. That's what it's for. But man, as a fan, that was just a frustrating play that I couldn't not say something about because it let Milwaukee get this game tied. And that right there was bad enough because you cannot let Milwaukee keep crawling into games because this game, the end result is exactly what they do. If you give that team an inch, they will take a mile.
I have it pulled up and I'm watching it a bunch. That's why I raised my hand. That puck should not have gone back up the boards, though. Like, that should have been wheeled around behind the net. Like,
correct.
He should have never been put in that position. Looking back at it, like, the puck just live to fight another day. You've got guys back, just wheel it. But that's just one thing I picked up real quick watching that. So I just wanted to point that out.
I do want to give a little bit of time to the Austin Watson goal because it was a crazy shot from the blue line. And then his selling was just hysterical. Just the down the lineup was just so hilarious to me. Just had to point that out because I don't think he scored in the last couple of games. So good to get him back on the board. And especially from that far out, it's just kind of
it was a laser.
Yeah, just kind of a crazy shot. It's something we don't typically see from Waddy. But good
to
see him on the
scoreboard. The expression that the puck had eyes on that one? Yeah, it had eyes on that one, dude. Unreal goal.
The celebration. It just had me laughing. That and Axel going into the bench in that game too was just hilarious.
He had too much jump, he said.
Axel
the last thing to talk about, yeah, that's what the Griffins said on that clip when we posted him jumping into the bench and falling over. He had too much jump. The last thing we'll talk about this game, because, we've talked a lot about this first game of the week, and obviously it is old news, but everyone's asking about Sebastian Cossa in this one. Look, was it his best game? No. Was it the team's best game in front of him? No. I want everyone to take a step back on Sebastian Cossa right now. When you look at this kid's season overall, he's played 36 games now. He has had a total of 8 games, I believe, if I counted it right, where he's had over a 3.0 goals against in a game, which on this high-powered offensive team that this Griffins team is, that usually works out pretty well for him. He has not lost more than 3 games in a row this entire season, and that was on this recent stretch where Cleveland, Milwaukee. He's okay. It's fine. As we alluded to earlier, this schedule has been brutal. There's been travel, some interesting travel, like the Rockford to Milwaukee, then back to Rockford within 3 days. I understand that's the life of a pro. He's never going to have to experience that type of schedule in the NHL. Relax. He's allowed to have a little bit of a slump because what he responded with Saturday night, even after allowing 2 bad goals, the response was still what you would expect from him as a goaltender. But when you look at him statistically overall, guys, he's fine. He's fine. He's, again, like I said earlier, he's just tired.
He'll be all right. I'm glad, now that you bring this up too, I'm thinking back on what we talked about earlier in the episode is that him going to Detroit, he wasn't going to play. What would have been the point, right? It's just another day of travel, just more on the body, more on the chaos, right? Goalies need routine. So it wouldn't have helped him going to Detroit to just sit the bench anyways. So, I'm glad that they got Posty. And, even though Posty didn't get to play, at least he gets a little bit of the experience because who knows? He might need to be up there next season for whatever, backup or who knows.
There's a trend, though, with this. Last year, he struggled down the stretch. This year, he's hitting a rough patch down the stretch. Now, I get the schedule. Thing.
Yeah, hold on, though. Before you go further, everyone talks about a rough stretch for him, but it was like a rough stretch from January to the end of playoffs for the entire team, including himself. Like, that stretch was months long, and here we are with a 4-game stretch that wasn't great.
I know. I'm just pointing out that that's what's going to be talked about. And then you look at some of the goals that are going in, and it's like, okay, that's not great. Now, granted, I get he rebounded Saturday, but like the one in particular is like that can't happen. Like,
agreed. And I'm sure he would look at you straight in the face and say, yeah, I agree too. But
I'm not panic button. I'm just saying, like, there is a clear, you see it last year. Nick was on it. I've made amends that he was right. He was correct. But this year, like, the team's playing so well, and then you just like as a whole for the whole season.
But as of late, because that's when Kossa's decline's been.
Not as of late, but like Postava's been great when he's played. So he's being outplayed. Like, he's got to be better.
I disagree.
He has to be better.
You got me there.
Right? Like, he has to be better.
I disagree.
Like,
it goes back to my point that goes back to my point. Detroit should have let him play Saturday. But anyways,
I just think like he needs a big night. I think just to like reset. Hopefully he gets that this week because obviously they have a busy week. I'm glad I'm not Dan Watson in a few weeks. I'm just going to say that right now.
Well, we'll talk about that later. Don't get too far off here.
But look, yeah, it's not his best game, but he's in a little bit of a rut here. Can he pull himself out of it? That's what you need a guy like him to do. If he's going to take that next step and be that goaltender of the future for Detroit, you can't have, this is what, his 3rd year in GR now? Is this year 3?
Yep.
Like, you can't let this 4-game stretch become 5, 6, 7. You gotta nip it in the butt. You want to take that next step, you gotta get there. You gotta get past the stretch.
100%. And again, like I said, he'll never have this type of schedule in the NHL. So if it's him getting tired, like, you don't have to worry about that as much. Obviously, playoffs are a different animal, but Detroit's got to make it to the playoffs first for that to happen. The thing that stands out to me when I look at this kid's statistics, there's one game that stands out among all of them where he was on track for 7.50 goals against. It's the Chicago game, the one that we were like, oh God, kid, what happened? And when we talk about Kossa's ability to bounce back from rough games, and yes, this bounce back's taken a little longer. He had that game where it was 7.50, 2.0, 2.0, shutout, 2.0, 2.81, 2.89, 2.0, and then we hit this stretch. He's fine. I've just seen so many comments to where it's like, oh, he's struggling. He might be washed. Leave it to the people that watch him every single night, please, when it comes to formulating those opinions. He's fine. All right. Enough about this. I know, Nick, you might have another piece to add there. It'll probably come out when we do our Q&A because I'm sure there's questions about Cossa in there too. Let's move on to the last game before we hit this ad break here. And it was Thursday night in Cleveland. Again, another one of those days where you're at home Tuesday, travel to Cleveland, you're playing again, which is really limiting the practice time, according to Dan Watson. But this game was an all of a sudden game where it was like, oh, we're so back. This was an incredible game by the Grand Rapids Griffins. They come out and win this game 5-2. And you can't talk about this game without talking about two things. One, Carter Mazur's 2-goal night. Impressive as all get out. Great goals by him. And the Griffins' third line that combined for 7 points in this game among the three players. Edwards, Trailmax, Jakub Roklovsky, a newcomer in his second Griffins game, made his debut with the Griffins on Tuesday, Stahoviak. I'm not even going to try the first name, Stahoviak, or Wojo, as we all call him now. It is Wojo. So for those wondering when we're talking about Wojo, it's him. 3 points in this game, including his first goal as a Griffin. This third line was incredible in this game. They had completely frustrated and solved Cleveland all at the same time in this one.
Yeah, this game, I just wish they would have started better. I think that's been kind of the theme with this team for the last couple games, I feel. And I know it's gonna come with chemistry, right? And we're implementing these guys into our lineup with Wojo. I know you're big on Wojo. You were big on him on Tuesday night when we were there. And this guy's starting to, come around on me now a little bit now too, after you kind of pointed out some of the things that he's doing.
It's his skating, man. It's
fast.
Unreal.
It's good to see him like first line, third line, like he's able to play on both and still like Travis said, it's going to be tough to beat Dan Watson in a few weeks when all these players, like, where do they go? Right. Like, and it can't be Toledo for everybody. Like, I mean, it's going to be crazy. I just wish they would have started a little bit better, right? The first 5 minutes, 10 minutes of the game, they were down 6-0 in the shots. Like there just wasn't any life, it seemed like. And I think Dan said it too, is they didn't really start till the second or third period? Second period?
The second period.
Really started to build it.
Yeah, but again, these were new look lines from even Tuesday night, right? Like he was still clearly trying to figure things out. And the reason I say to focus on just this third line alone, because you look at the third line earlier in the season, it was Andre Becker, Trailmax, and Roklovsky. The line worked great, and then it kind of fell off, and then guys started getting shifted everywhere. Like it's been chaos ever since. And all of a sudden you get this first game where you're like, okay, well, you obviously can't break that up for the next game. That works. That's great. Let's leave it. And my instant thought was, where does Becker fit in when everybody is back? He's a center. He's been playing center all season. We saw him play the wing on Saturday night, for those wondering where he ended up. He ended up playing the wing that night, but at the same time, guys are going to come back and fill those spots. You kind of feel bad because Stahoviak just kind of came in and took over that third line center role, because even Saturday night, that line still looked really, really good together. And Stahoviak just kind of felt like a missing piece for the bottom six when Dan Watson's been looking for the bottom nine to step up lately. Well, when your third line comes in and puts up 7 points collectively, yes, your second line didn't contribute, and you're looking for the fourth line to still kind of contribute there. But you got to feel good as a coach for that third line to just all of a sudden explode when you add one new piece to it.
Depth, right? As we've been talking about it all season. And Becker was doing really well in that spot early before, right around that Christmas time. And now he's just kind of suddenly fallen off. Maybe he's injured. Maybe he's a little hurt. He's a little banged up late in the season. This is the most amount of games he's played in a season. So maybe it's just kind of catching up to him. A little bit of a hitting the wall, you could say. So good for them to be able to kind of foresee this, I guess you could say, and make this trade. We get rid of two defensemen because you've got at least one coming over. You get some forwards, and especially at center, where we're not great organizationally, right? As we could tell for the last couple of weeks. So it's good that we got this guy, he's performing, right? He's putting up points. He's driving it, right? Somebody has to do it now with Shine Out, right? I'm still up with Detroit.
Well, it's nice too, because he's kind of unlocked a guy that I've been personally critical on over the past couple of weeks in Edwards Trailmax. Eddie gets a goal in this game plus an assist, and ends up getting a goal again on Saturday night too. So it's nice to see him be able to kind of jump in and get Eddie back to what we would expect him to be, as he's been kind of rough the past few games since he's come back from the Olympic break. It was really nice to see the Eddie we're used to seeing out there.
Yeah, kind of maybe he was a little checked out, right? Like his head's not here. Like just the way we watched him on Tuesday, he just didn't seem like he was physically here. He's just going through the motions.
I laughed because his line mates before that were Czech, and I thought that's where you went with that. So anyways, well done.
I wish I was there.
That witty?
No,
yeah.
No, yeah. I mean, I usually am, but not today. I've been trying to be more serious on the pod, Brandon. We're a professional podcast, right? We don't talk about the dog game or new menu items on at the Van Andel.
Yeah, we've grown since then. Anyways, look, the last piece you got to talk about this one. Obviously, we said it earlier in the episode. Carter Gylander got the start in this game. called up, gets the start in this one. Big win for him. Stops 28 of 30 shots faced, and now is 7-1 in 8 appearances with the Grand Rapids Griffins this season. Travis, your thoughts on Gyro? That's your guy.
Gyro's the man.
He's a stud.
Fucking love Gyro. Yeah, like he is just, you look at his ECHL numbers, right? A 2.65, 0.906 save percentage. Then you look at his American League numbers, 1.62, 0.942. Guy can play in the AHL. Like, he is an AHL goaltender. Yeah, his numbers aren't like eye-popping in Toledo, but he's had a really good season when he's played, right? I mean, last night, they only won that game. He's the only reason they won that game if you go back and watch the first period. He fits in. Like, he's a gamer. Like, that's all you can really say about him. He's grown up a lot this year compared to last year. I think from when we talked to him in the summer, with him and Yanni, and when we had them on, and then you go into now this year, he's kind of the guy in Toledo, right? Like, he was probably, the starter. Now they've got 3 again, but Pat has talked a lot about him being like so big for them back there when they need him. So his development's been incredible, and I've loved every opportunity. Christ, he hasn't even lost a game in regulation for the Griffins yet.
He played so well Saturday, and I feel so bad. Like, his situation, just there's no path for him. Like,
go win a spot. Go win a spot.
How do you win a spot when you have
a 7-0-1? See his stats?
I'm just saying.
I feel so bad for him because
I do too.
This is gonna haunt us later. He's gonna come play for like Milwaukee or somewhere, and
don't
just
even
crush us every
joke
season.
about
like that's what's gonna happen.
He's under team control, so like they have to qualify him. They can't let him walk.
They have to.
You cannot let a guy like this walk. Like, he's literally provided your AHL team an undefeated in regulation record. He's lost 1 game in 8 starts.
I want to point out something before it gets too off the rails with him. Travis, you talk about his ECHL numbers compared to his AHL numbers, and he's sharing the net with 2 other goaltenders down there. We talked about Cossa with the 3 goalies in GR. It's the perfect example of how a goalie just doesn't get fully settled into that position when he's got to share the net with 2 other guys. It is the perfect example to back up that whole scenario where you shouldn't carry 3. Never. It sucks. And I know Toledo's situation is very different because Cleveland has assigned Nolan, and it's been great for them at times as well because, how many goalies have gone through Toledo this year? It feels like that first year we were covering the Griffins, all of a sudden there'll be 9 goalies at the end of the thing. But you can't have 3. And that's what sucks for Gyro because he should be primarily getting most of these starts in Toledo. Let's be real. He should be the guy. He, in my eyes, is the guy. Yes, there's 3 goalies, but he's my 1A over the other 2. Sorry, Nolan. Sorry, Matt. He's just been so dang good. And for him to be able to step up in GR, get the call up same day, step into net, and deliver the performance that he did, and then come off the ice and do a post-game interview afterwards where he's just chill. He's just like, yeah, it was fun. I like being here, and whether I'm in Toledo or Grand Rapids, I'm just here to perform and do my thing. And he's just a guy. He's a gamer, man. He's a stud.
Yeah,
like
the person is incredible. Like like you said, like he'll come off, and then he's so down to earth. One of the probably nicest people you could ever meet in the hallway.
One of the most fun goalies I've ever talked to.
Yeah, for sure. Like, he just goes out there and plays. He's somebody, if Detroit if they fuck this up, I'll say it. If they fuck this up, like, he is playing in the American League somewhere next year.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
he
deserves it's going to be in the Central, knowing our luck. Like, it's going to be.
Chicago.
God. Yeah, ask him if he likes fireworks or not. That'll make his decision.
You like fire?
For him.
Like I said, they have to qualify him. He's been too important to the team, the organization as a whole this year, not to at least give him a QO.
Like, don't get me wrong, I love Postava. I absolutely love Postava. I love what he's brought to this team, but I really wonder what a season of Cossa and Gyro would have looked like. Yeah, I'm always gonna wonder.
He should have been here. Posty was a great find, but it should have been
beautiful find,
Cossa
beauty,
and Gyro here. It should have been those 2 here.
Well, I don't think they knew I didn't think they maybe thought Postava would come in here and become what he became, right? And I said it in the beginning of the year, Gyro should have been up the entire time that he was hurt. That was a fumble, in my opinion, but that's water.
Yeah, the
under the pool.
Tokarski signing was so weird. Like
We
you
got to
said,
ask the manager.
don't get me started. All right. It's time to hit an ad break. This episode is all over the place, off the rails, but boy, it's been fun so far. When we come back, we got one more Griffins game to talk about. We've got Q&A with you wonderful listeners. We'll give you an update on the AHL standings as they stand today.
DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, is built for the fastest game on ice. With player props, live betting, every shift, every shot, every save gives you options to get in on the game with DraftKings Sportsbook. Currently, the NHL is on an Olympic break, but right now you can bet a plus 10,000 for more excited to win the Norris Trophy or plus 3,500 for John Gibson to win the Vezina. Pretty good odds there for our guys. New customers bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. New York, call 8778-HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Blue Hill Casino in Kansas, wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois. 21 plus in most states. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer. Copyright 2026 Reserve.
And welcome back. All right, we got one more game to talk about. I know we've been all over the place. I apologize. It's so hard not to get off on the tangents of some of the players and kind of dive deeper and talk about their performance across games. We're working on it. We'll figure it out one of these years. But this game was a wild one. You had the Chicago Wolves in town, and the Griffins come out of this one with a 3-2 overtime win on Top Gun theme night, which honestly, I'm not going to lie, guys, it was a pretty fun theme night. The Austin Watson bobblehead is super cool. I've got one. It's back behind me. It's pretty sick. They did a good job with it, but you knew going into a Top Gun theme night that the music selection all night was going to be just fantastic. But they did a wonderful job with it, playing through it all night long. So I'll give them credit on this. The only thing I'm missing was a Top Gun themed jersey. Nick is still just staring because he didn't get a bobblehead.
How'd you get a bobblehead?
I'm a wizard. Don't worry about it. But either way, this was a lot of fun in this game, but it didn't start off fun. And you look at, the first period, and the Wolves score 2 goals that you look at both and you go, oh, Coase, buddy, I know you're battling through whatever you're battling through mentally right now, but these 2 goals, they were not good goals to give up. And this was the one Travis was referencing earlier where he's like, yeah, you can't give that goal up. You can't give those goals up if you're Sebastian Cossa. And unfortunately, he did.
It's just, you can't have it. Like, that's the thing.
You can't.
You can't let goals in from the corner. Like, it's essentially where it went in from, right? Am I
yeah, so the replay of it looked like it bounced off his glove down between his legs, went 5-hole. Like it took a really weird, ghostly like bounce, like the puck was kind of possessed, which is kind of funny because you look at the other end and we all joke about Quinn Hughes staring at his ghosts. And I wish I could have gotten a clip of it because Miftakov, the goaltender for the Wolves, during media timeouts, just stands between the faceoff circle and the blue line, staring straight, deadpan stare. So I think he might have had some ghosts channeled into this game for that puck to be able to get through Cossa and that. That's what I'm going to blame it on, and I'm trying not to blame it too much on.
I just say it's like, it may sound like I'm not the Coast guy. Like, I literally spent way too much for that jersey. I love Coast.
We don't talk about that.
He's one of my favorite prospects, but like that one was like, okay, like I know stuff happens, but like year 3 from the corner can't have.
Yeah, no, 100% agree with you. But here's the thing with this game, and that happens, and we all kind of were just like, this isn't good. What's the rest of this going to look like? And Sebastian Cossa absolutely locked in. Yes, he only faced 4 shots, in the third period, no shots in overtime. He did face 13 in the second, but he locked it down. And that's all you would expect him to do when you let in 2 bad ones like that and can lock it down the rest of the game to give the team a chance to win. That's your job as a goaltender. He gave the guys a chance to win, and he needed the puck to start going in the net at the other end. And it took till the 7-minute, 10-second mark of the third period where Eddie Trailmax finds the back of the net. Again, goals in back-to-back games for Eddie is 22nd of the season. You do love to see him scoring against Stahoviak with the secondary assist on that one again. Like I said earlier, it feels like he's kind of unlocked that third line. You do love to see it. And then 2 minutes left in the third. The Griffins are on the power play thanks to Amadeus Lombardi, who had a great shift and ends up drawing a penalty, which the Wolves all thought was diving. Was it? Maybe. I don't know. I'm not going to say it was because I'm a fan of the team. But the Griffins convert on this power play, and ASP with another missile from this time about 15 feet inside the blue line gets the game tied. And it's not just that. The Griffins end up getting a really soft penalty called against them, which felt like a makeup call for the Amadeus Lombardi trip. I digress. But the Griffins have a massive penalty kill that carried over into overtime, and they kill that off. That right there is where me sitting there watching this game alone, because Nick was in Flint that night, instead of watching the game with me, that's where I was like, we can still very much win this game, and I feel like we're about to. And the way that it all kind of came together, as Coach Watson said, is the team started building on their game in the second period, and it's really where he felt like the team kind of looked like how they usually look. Because mind you, Chicago's a good team. They're in second place in the division for a reason. Yes, they're 23 points back as it stands right now because this team is just unreal. But at the same time, they're still a good team. To be able to lock it in after your goalie gives up 2 soft ones, come back and tie this game, vibes were off the charts in the arena. It was a beautiful thing to see. But I've talked a lot. Before we get to the overtime goal, I just want to know what you guys thought about all.
I think for me, the one thing with that game, the way that it unfolded, they were, like you said, they trailed, correct?
Yeah, they were down 2-0 for basically almost all the game until 7 minutes, 10 seconds into the third.
It's the ultimate form of like what Toledo's done all year. Like just stick with it and you'll find a way. Like that. That's what they did. Like they trailed. There was that never give up attitude. They found a way to come back and crawl back into the game. Like despite makeup calls, despite missed calls, like they just battled. And they that's the thing about this team this year is they've come, when they faced adversity, they've always kind of overcame it. Like last year, it kind of snowballed on them at times. And then this year, they're rising above it. They're finding a way. It's that mentality of, okay, get the first one. Okay, we got it. Let's go get the second one. And then we'll go from there. And I think that's probably the one thing for this team that for me, like I've seen it for years with Waddy's teams. Like they were never out of a game. And that's kind of how the Griffins feel this year. This is a great example of that.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful. This game had playoff-like intensity to it on the ice. Yes, you go down too early, but it had that playoff feel. The ref was letting a lot of things go on both sides in this one. They let them play and figure it out. I mean, you're looking at this game and it only had a collective, 5 penalties total. And this game featured Austin Watson and Giovanni Smith and Yannick Turcotte. And there was only 5 penalties in the game. They let a lot go in this one and let it build up. And it was a lot about controlling their emotions in this one to crawl back into this. So it was a lot of fun to watch.
Like, and this is the thing with ASP too. Like you look at that power play goal and it's top of the umbrella again. And it's a bomb. Like that is one of the things that I think with him coming to North America, like they said, look, you might be in a little bit different position than you were overseas because, like I said, he played off the flank kind of on the off wing. And for up here, over here, a lot of times the defenseman runs the umbrella up top. So that's a new wrinkle for him. And he scored 2 goals from the top of the umbrella this weekend. Now, credit to, Steph, right? The power play.
Steph Julian, yep.
The power play guy for putting him and Gus on the same unit. Like he's identified strengths with these two. Like they both deserve to be on the power play. So I like that they're utilizing him there, but like, I don't know if you want to wait to get into the game winner, but like.
We'll let Nick share his thought real quick and then we're going to jump into that.
The one thing that's helped too with that, so that power play, they pulled the goalie. So they were 6 out of 4, 5, whatever amount.
6 out of 4.
I mean, it created a lot more space. They had 3 guys right there on the line and then 3 on the blue line too. So like it was going to go in at some point. This Wolves team has not been good as of late either. They're tanking at the same time as we were, really, as they're not playing the best hockey. They've given up 21 goals in the last 4 games. So I think with Grand Rapids' thought process is get as many shots on net as you possibly can in the third. This game is gonna turn around. They hit goalposts most of the first 2 periods as well. So at some point it was gonna get through. They were gonna score a goal at some point. Just keep chipping away, and they did. Right? You go to the dirty areas, like especially we'll get into the game winner here in a second with Trav. But yeah, I mean it's just keep shooting. That's all you can do.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Chicago's recent record too, because I think Miftakov in his last 4 or 5 appearances hadn't let in less than 4 goals a game. and all of a sudden was shutting out the Griffins until Trailmax found the back of the net. It was super weird to see how it was unfolding, but they just kept shooting. But let's talk about this game winner because, yes, Sheldon Dries with probably 30 feet of space before another player was near him, absolutely wiring it to the back of the net was pure electric. The celly was even better. But Eddie Genborg, with just a great sequence behind the net. He gets a scoring opportunity, then goes to battle it out behind the net, somehow comes up with the puck, and he's right next to the goal, and nobody's challenging him at this point. He had laid everyone to waste behind him as they're all trying to get back into this game, where he has all the time in the world to find Dreisy to bury that puck. Gets his first AHL point, which was very, very well deserved with how he played on that shift. Just an unbelievable sequence by him. That goal obviously does not happen without him. Beautiful shot by Dreisy, though, and just pure nails, dude. That's all it was. The celly was ice cold. It was exactly what you want to see in a game where you're down 2-0 and come back and win this 3-2.
At home.
That might register up there with some of the loudest I've heard that arena. Was as soon as Trailmax found the back of the net, the crowd was finally into it, and they didn't stop until well after that goal was scored.
We have not been great at home, so it was important to get that as well. Chicago's a good team, right? They've not been great as of late, but to get that against we're going to see them in the playoffs. It would be hard if we did not. All right, something crazy would have to happen, but we're going to see them. It's probably going to be at the conference finals, which you're going to
it'll be division finals, not conference finals.
Division finals, sorry, which you'll walk us through here in a minute. But yeah, very important to be able to get that. And just happy for Eddie, right? Look comfortable, look like he belonged out there. Coach gave him 3-on-3 out there in the most important minutes of the game. Like that's trusting the kid.
I want to say, like, Brandon, did you think Dries was scoring when he could walk down Broadway like that?
Well, I would hope so. God, as soon as I'm focused on the board battle behind the play, and I see that puck come out, and I see Dreisy just walking in. And I think Tom asked him in the postgame, "You ever had that much space to score ever?" And he's like, "Probably just in practice only." Like, he's not going to miss that shot. As soon as that puck landed on his stick, and I realized there's no one around him, it's game. I'm already screen recording, getting the clip going. It was unreal to see, but as a lifelong for the Griffins, fan of this team, the building being that electric as we're this close to playoffs, it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful.
To get you in your feels a little bit?
A little bit. Like for me, again, I'm there by myself. Nick's off dilly-dallying in Flint, watching them score 11 goals. And it's usually chaos in those types of moments in the game where the adrenaline's rushing. I'm like, the hand gets a little trembly while you're trying to type, and you're like, oh God, I was just locked in, playoff ready to go at that point in time. It was so much fun to watch this team come back and get a win, especially against that team. Any win like that against Chicago is always a little sweeter than any other win. Outside of that, nothing else to add to that game specifically, but when you look at this week alone, the Griffins collect 5 out of the 6 points this week. It's a great thing to see them be able to do after the stretch that they've been on. I think it's great for the confidence, and Dan Watson's talked about how this group needs to come together. They've got this nice long road trip coming up. They're not back in Van Andel for 2 weeks. Yes, there's only a week's worth of games in that sense, where there's just this week, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. But for the boys to be able to step away, get an actual practice. So Dan told us at one point they hadn't had a full practice in 13 days. You've injected so many new pieces in the lineup, and you're learning on the fly. For them to get on the road, get to become closer, get some practice time together. Really excited to see what the next couple weeks bring as we head into the playoff stretch. The one thing I'll point out with this week, because I think we've talked a lot about it this season, is the special teams and what it delivered this week. Power play went 2 for 12. ASP contributed on both of those with an assist on one, obviously scoring the one in the next game. PK went 7 for 10 with a shorty. I'll take that in this 3-game stretch, as the team is obviously, there's guys in situations where they've never been in these systems, this power play, this penalty kill, and you put up those numbers with a bunch of new faces in the lineup. Yeah, I'll take that this week. No complaints from me. But I think the 3 stars of the week might shock some people. I got honorable mentions this week to Carter Mazur for 2 goals and an assist, and Eddie Trailmax for 2 goals and an assist. The 3rd star of the week goes to ASP, 2 goals and an assist, with 2 of those points being on the power play. Your 2nd star of the week, Erik Gustafsson, 5 assists this week. We went through all this talk of all these games, and we did not talk about Erik Gustafsson yet. He had 5 freaking assists this week. A massive week, showing what he truly means to this Griffins team. 5 points in those 3 games, huge. And yeah, I only gave him the 2nd star because you got to give Wojo the first star of the week. You have to. A goal and 3 assists in his first 3 games as a Griffin coming off of injury. Absolutely massive.
That's crazy. He had 5 points.
We cover all these games and we didn't even realize that he had 5 freaking assists this week. Eric Gustafsson was on an absolute mission this week to set up goals. And that's what he did. But he also still played an incredible defensive game as he usually does.
That's crazy.
It's just wild.
That's more points than Ammo got this week and MBN combined. Somebody would have picked him for Ignite the Nest. They would have probably been moving on.
Yeah, we're going to need a playoff update next episode from you.
I mean, he had 600 NHL games? How many times have we heard that, Brandon?
Good teaser for the interview with Brandon Hawkins we're dropping later this week. Yes, we've heard that 600 NHL games quite a bit. Look, Red Wings fans have their feelings about him, but as a Griffin, we love this guy. And you go to Wojo being the first star. Yeah, I know it's a small sample size. It's just 3 games. But if this is what we're going to see out of him during this stretch and heading into the playoffs, welcome to GR. We are happy to have you.
And with this guy up.
And with little to no practice time too. Not a lot of, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why he got first star over Gus there. I know it's 1 point less, but at the same time, you look at the grand scheme of things, you've got to give the man credit. Coming off injury, limited practice time, your first 3 games, you put up 4 points. That's impressive.
Was it him or Mill that changed their number this week?
Everyone changed their number this week. I figured out why.
Why?
Because the purple jerseys were already made.
Specialty jerseys, yeah.
Yeah, they took the blank ones. So that's why the numbers were weird this week. But anyways, moving on from that. Again, sorry, we know this is a long episode, but I think you all will enjoy this next bit. We asked the folks on Twitter for some questions because we haven't done this in a while. We used to do this almost weekly because we didn't know what to talk about half the time because we were still learning how to be a podcast. And when you do it this week, it turns into an 1.5-hour episode. But that's fine. We owe you guys. So the first question that sparked this all came from @LargeFather. Hey, Hockeytown West Pod, what do you think the goalie situation will look like when Trey gets signed?
What I would do, not to mess with anything in GR and how well that train's going, trade to Toledo for the playoffs, and then next year you sort it out at training camp. That's how I'd handle it.
I've heard Toledo twice now today. One from Locked On, Brian and Scotty both talked about Trey going to Toledo. I think that would be crazy just because the caliber of goalie that he is, right? You saw Jacob Fowler come out of college and go right to the NHL, and now he's in the AHL.
That path was a little different, though.
What do you mean?
They also didn't have a first-round draft pick already in their American League system. He was the guy for the future.
Right, I wasn't saying him to go straight to Detroit. I was just saying, I don't think he goes to Toledo.
Fowler didn't go straight to Detroit. He went to the AHL.
Right.
Fowler
was in the AHL.
Right. That's why
we already have a first-round draft pick in the AHL, plus Michael Postava, who's been sensational.
Right. That's kind of where I was going with that.
I think he goes to Grand Rapids just to be a black ace. I don't know if he plays, but I think he's here to get involved with the organization, get familiar with Grand Rapids, get familiar with Rope, get familiar with the system, the defenseman that we have here. Maybe he gets called upon, right? If there's an injury or there's the last game of the season or last couple games of the season, let's just throw him out there, see what he does. There's too much chaos in Toledo. I understand maybe Nolan goes to Cleveland and then it opens up a spot, but we just said we don't need 3 goalies ever.
Yeah. So you're saying, you said that and you're saying send him to GR. So we have 3 goalies. So that makes sense.
There's 3 in Toledo too. So
I think I want to think about
but
this.
An affiliation would have a little bit more say probably on what happens down there, would be my guess.
In reality, Cleveland could loan Nolan to anybody.
Correct.
I want to peel it back and think about it this way. There's 2 ways to go. The organization could look at the amount of games Trey has played this year at MSU and say, you're just going to go to GR. You're going to, like you said, Nick, get comfortable with the guys, get comfortable with the system, get comfortable with Rupe and see what happens. Or they could say, we want Trey to play games and they're going to send him. If they want him to play games, he's going to Toledo. If they want him to rest and just get used to being a pro, he's coming to Grand Rapids. It's the only way they can really look at it. Because if you're sending him to GR, he's probably not playing maybe but a debut game near the last game of the season. If they want him to go continue playing this season, he has to go to Toledo. And that's not to say that he needs to go challenge Carter for the net. But at the same time, when you look at it big picture, if you're Pat Mickish and you go, okay, I've got Carter Gylander, I'm probably going to lose Nolan. Cleveland's making the playoffs. Columbus is probably making the freaking playoffs. Nolan's probably going to end up back in Cleveland as an extra or the backup. I want to have Trey Augustine here and do a rotation with Gyro. Who knows? We've seen Pat run the rotation before. What does Pat do going into the playoffs this year? Does he just ride Carter? I don't know. It's going to get messy. Detroit has found themselves in a conundrum of goaltenders, but I want to preface this with one really important thing, and Nick's going to hate me for saying this. Yes, Trey has been an incredible collegiate goaltender. He's proved nothing in the pros. We've seen so many goalies go through college and do incredible things and falter in the pros. I think you send him to Toledo to relieve the pressure to get used to it, because you still don't know what the organization is going to do with Gyro. And when I say that, it could very well be Gylander Cossa or Gylander Postava next year in Grand Rapids. Trey's got a lot to prove. He's got a lot. It's going to be war at training camp between the goaltenders. It's going to be so much fun to watch. I do not envy anyone in this organization's jobs right now.
See, I would challenge that because the kid's not coming from juniors like Cossa was, right? Like the kid has been playing against first round talent, right? In NCAA. He just went this weekend 75 shots against. This kid performs well under. Yeah, there was like 75 shots against him in this tournament.
I know. I'm not giving you a look because of that.
Travis is giving me a look.
I'm giving you a look because I think the world needs to simmer down on what level the NCAA is. I saw multiple tweets about this today because Frank Saravalli said something about college teams being able to compete with NHL teams, and he walked that back real quick, which thank God he did. But then I saw this chart come out that broke down like where the NHL is at skill-wise, where the AHL is at, and the ECHL and the college leagues are right on top of each other. I think we need to all remember that the AHL is one of the toughest leagues. Some players call it the toughest league to play in. If you're going to throw Trey to the Wolves like that, that's a decision that I will probably question by the organization, but it's not the first time this season I've questioned some decisions this organization has made. I think Toledo is the right choice for him to start off with, because I still stand by, yes, Grand Rapids is a great place to learn to be a pro, but in the ECHL, there's no better place to learn to be a pro than Toledo. Absolutely no other place better than with that group of guys.
I'm still just baffled that Nick said about college and first round draft picks when most of them are still coming out of juniors.
Who's coming out of juniors?
There's still going to be a lot of first round picks out of the CHL, my guy. A lot.
Right.
Made it seem like NCAA is going to take over the first round draft.
No. Not like Gavin McKenna was a first round pick out of juniors, right? Well, he will be a first round pick out of he was the junior route. He could have went pro last year, decided to go to college.
He couldn't go pro last year. He wasn't draft eligible last year.
Okay. So, all right.
I just thought you meant I thought you meant like first round draft picks, like coming out of college.
No, I'm thinking like Porter Martone, like literally signed his deal today kind of thing. Like that's the guy that I have on my head right now of Porter coming out of MSU and signed his deal right away. Like the kid will play with Philly this weekend. He'll probably score his first goal against Detroit tomorrow or Wednesday.
Probably will.
That's the
God.
I think he's here. I think it'll be messy, but it'll be here.
It's going to be a mess. Either way, we found ourselves in a mess because you have Cossa, Postava, Gylander, and now Augustine jumps into the mix. This is
Steve Yzerman loves his goalies.
And it's, again, Trey hasn't proved anything in the pros, but if Trey hits like everyone expects him to, you've never seen this kind of luck with goaltenders. Like, it's unreal. So, again, it's not a bad problem to have. It's just going to be a very confusing, messy situation to follow. It all comes down to, do they want Trey to rest or do they want him to play games? If they want him to play games, the answer is obvious. But if they want him to rest and just come watch the team and learn how to be a pro, then that answer is obvious too. So we'll see. Moving on to our next question comes from our friends over at the Grindline podcast. What's up, boys? What is your take on Cossa's down stretch recently? As concerning as some are making it out to be, or not much of anything? We kind of talked about it at length, obviously, but at the same time, I say it's not much of anything. There's no goaltender that I've ever seen bounce back the way that Cossa does, so we just kind of wait and see what happens.
He's got the fourth best save percentage in the AHL of a .918. His goals against right now is fifth in the league at 2.24, and he's tied for second in the league with assists with 2. So I don't think there's any point, to be concerned with Cossa at the moment. It's just the schedule right now is just rough, and with all the new people too, I think that's also been a problem. And then on top of it, you have the weirdest stuff going on in the AHL right now with the boards being broken, ice not being in good condition. Like it's thrown off a lot of timing and rhythm, I think.
Yeah, I feel like we inherited some of the ECHL's problems of, the ever-changing hockey league. It's kind of moved over to the AHL, but this question had the most comments from other people on it too. And, there's a lot of people saying that he's been bad, he's been good, and it's fine. And the one comment that I think stood out to me the most is that every player has some downtime, no worries on them. And that's exactly what it is.
I think you give him
Moving
a
on
week
to
off, let Trey go, and then Coast will be right back at it.
Exactly. All right, Randy Zick. What's up, Randy? It's been a while. Definitely a two-parter here from him. Do the Griffins take the conference this year? I think they can. It would take a really disastrous downslide, but at the same time, Ontario's a good team. You never know what's going to happen. And again, we don't even know who's going to be in net the last week of the season at this point, right? So you just wait and see. But the goal, according to the team, is the conference. Well, the goal is the league, but the conference is the next thing on their to-do list. So yes. The second part of the question, ice cream sundae or banana split, which one is supreme?
Ice cream sundae.
Yeah, I agree.
Same.
Yep. Sorry, no banana split fans here.
Gotta go with a warm brownie.
Ooh, all right. I hate when these guys drop food ones in near the end of the episode. It's miserable for me because I'm like, that sounds so good. All right, next one comes from Carlo, one of the boys over at Hockeytown Rundown. And this one, I'm going to try to get this in one take. How much yen? Did I say yen? Yen? I don't know on this.
Yen.
All right, we're already on take 2. How much yen can yen borg yen if Genborg could borg yen?
I think yen.
Touche, Carl.
A lot. This one comes from SJ Murd. I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure I butchered that one for you. This is a Red Wings related question. Should McClellan be feeling some heat for second straight late season collapse? Bruce Cassidy is available.
Could you imagine?
Brandon, why don't you go first here?
Yeah.
Man.
You know how much you love Todd?
All right.
Bruce.
Here's where the Wings fans come after me in the comments. I can't stand Todd McClellan as a coach, and there's a lot of reasons behind that. I'm not going to dive into every single one. We're doing the exact same thing you saw with Newsy at this point in the season when things are slipping. You're throwing everything at the wall, hoping it sticks, but you got guys that you called jerseys a few weeks ago still out there skating out there when you could easily put a different guy in their place from Grand Rapids. I mean, heck, in a practice lineup today, you had Mazer and Shine rotating. Like at this point, if you're going to throw Appleton out there over Shine, you should be gone, in my opinion. As much as I want Dominic Shine back in Grand Rapids, he clearly brings a different level of energy to the Red Wings. I think the culture problem that's now been created starts at Todd. I just don't. I'm not a fan. I wasn't a fan when they hired him. Could Todd McClellan get this team to the playoffs? Sure. Is Todd McClellan going to win them a Stanley Cup? No. I want a coach there that's going to win them a Stanley Cup at some point, even if it means missing another season of playoffs. Todd's not the guy. That's my opinion. Roast me in the comments if you want to, but
I will.
I can't stand him. Thank you, Nick. Like, look, dude, he's that kid in high school that is super popular because he's all talk, loves to drop things on the media, loves to throw players under the bus. I'm not a fan of that. Yes, he doesn't call him out by name most of the time, but I could see if this is a reality where him and Dylan Larkin don't get along, I could see it. Do I think Dylan Larkin is a problem? No. This starts with the culture that the coach wants to establish and the GM wants to establish. Yes, I'm mentioning Steve in this, but it starts with that guy in the room that's talking to them every single day. He ain't the guy. And again, I know everyone loves his quotes, his hot takes that he'll throw out there. If that's what you love about a coach, then there's plenty of other coaches to go watch that do that across the league, but they're nowhere close to playoff races.
Hey, I'll say this quick. Remember the early, you guys will know, obviously, Nick, you grew up, Fedorov was your guy, right? Like, these Red Wings. Detroit had a bit of a problem before Scotty Bowman showed up, and he changed the entire culture. So I think that's kind of what Steve's vision is here, is like, you got to reset everything, and it starts with the coach. If you can't figure it out, I had to go and figure it out. But so on some of these guys, they're going to have to figure it out because I think he's back next year.
Could you imagine if they did fire Todd and then Bruce comes in and gets him to the Western or the Eastern Conference Finals? You got
a Bruce Cassidy guy. I like him as a coach. Obviously, there's some ties to Grand Rapids in there too. But
I mean, from a style part of coach, he's hard on guys too. Like he rides guys. Like
yeah, but when
Cassidy
it
does,
comes
like-
to those media interviews, he doesn't ride him as much as Todd. I mean, I saw Todd's comments after the game Saturday, and I'm just like, this is how you lose a room. It really is. Like, I know what you're watching on the ice is frustrating. I know as a coach, it's got to be extremely frustrating. We all see it as fans. It looks like they don't have the heart in it. But instead of continuing to beat your team down, how are you trying to pick them up and help them find that heart? Todd's not the guy. He's not doing that.
well, the team's got to do it. Like somebody has to be the guy that puts their foot down, that puts the jersey on, that says enough is enough. Like that's where I think they lack. I've said it all year. I think they lack in that department. Yes, Shine helps, but
Yeah, Shine shouldn't have to captain two teams.
like, yeah.
They should put Shine and Mazer on a line together because that worked here in GR. Like that's the stuff that's frustrating to me is like you call up GR guys and then you don't put them on lines together, which I understand. Like you got a lot of heat for this, Brandon, on Twitter. But I know it doesn't always like I guess it was on our account, so it doesn't always translate. But at least there's chemistry. These guys are gonna play for each other. At least that line is because it doesn't seem like these guys are wanting to play. Right? Somebody tweeted out today that they were all at the golf course. It's like, oh God.
Nothing wrong with that. If it's a day off, go golf.
I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but I don't know.
I know 3 Griffins that were on the golf course yesterday. Like,
hey, that's different though. We've already clinched. These guys.
Yeah, but you got to be able to get away from the game off. Like
Yeah,
we
you gotta
know how
disconnect a
important
little.
that is. Like that's okay. It's a great question because obviously it generates a lot of conversation. I'm sure I'm going to get absolutely roasted in the comments for my thoughts on Todd, but until the playoff run and the cup comes, me wrong. Sorry.
But you've doubled down on that. Like you've said that all year.
I said it the day he got hired. I'm sorry.
think
I
you're
don't
wrong.
see it. I don't see it. And here's the thing that pisses me off with the NHL is what's Vegas do? They fire Bruce, bring in Torts. Sure, that's fun. Everyone loves Torts. There's so many coaches in the American League who are capable and could probably bring new light to this game that could step in and do a great job. And yet we continue to just recycle guys that have been there so many times before. And yes, does that work sometimes? But the majority of the time it doesn't. Let's get some new blood in there. Let's get some new coaches in. I'm so sick of talking about the same dang coaches every single season. And does that mean when you ask Bruce is available, would I want to see him in Detroit? Just because the Grand Rapids ties, it would be fun. Do I think it's the answer? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Let's get some new blood in there. And I know Newsy was technically new blood, and I know Wings fans couldn't stand him, but at the same time, I don't think he was that bad of a coach. But I digress. We have 3 more questions to get to.
I think the coach is a small part of it. I don't think Steve, you loop Steve in there. I don't think Steve's the problem. I don't think if he had to divvy it up, I think it's like 10% Steve, right? 20% Todd, and the rest of it's on the players at this point. Like the players just don't, you got to play. You got to act like you want to be there. They just seem like they don't care. You can't go into Ottawa and with their 5 backup AHL defenders and playing, I don't know who they had, but the 5 starting defensemen were out. You give up nothing. Like,
yeah,
you
and I
gotta want it.
understand that like the players should want it, and they obviously should want it for the city and the historic franchise that they play for. Every night you're going to battle for your coach, though, and if you've lost the room, you're not going to see the battle. I'm sorry. It all boils down to that, in my opinion. But again, I could be wrong. We'll move on to the next one before I dig myself deeper into the hole of comments that'll come later. This one comes from Burner. What do you make of Volander? Will he ever make the NHL or no? This is so tough. Will he make the NHL? Yes. With Detroit? Probably not.
Could agree with that.
7th defenseman, 6th defenseman. I think he's gotten better this year, but he's also playing with NHL defensemen, right? So it's like, he has improved. Lately, he's been pretty absent. For you, if you haven't been following, he's injured for the last 6 games. So yeah, for him, it's tough. I don't think you see. He's not going to be a first, second, or maybe a third pairing, right? Third pairing at most at this point.
Yeah. Next one comes from Lucas MF Raymond. Love the name. I know what that means. What do you think is the most likely path for Ford Dylan James? I remember Detroit wanted to sign him to an ELC last year, but he wanted to go back to ND. I've been hearing, now we can't confirm any of this, I haven't heard this myself, but I've been hearing some people say he might not sign here because he'd have a harder time making a roster than other teams.
So I did see this comment. I did see this question beforehand. So I did prep for this. He's a junior this year, so he could go back again for senior year of college hockey. It is tough. Like, there's a log jam right now forwards. Like, where does he play? How does he get ice time? If I was him, I'd go back to college again for next season, right? And then reevaluate where we're at. Because at this point, if he signs, he's probably in Toledo, which is where the college kids go, right?
That seems like kind of loser mentality, taking the easy way out, not want to sign because it's hard. I don't like that. If that's the case, I'm sure it's not, but it just.
That's not what he said.
No, I
Just
know. But
Yeah, I have no quotes to back that up. I could not
Yeah.
find anything.
Find
So
I think he'll sign. Ultimate. They should sign him. If he's willing to come, they should definitely sign him.
It's going to be a savage situation all over again. He needs to have a clear path laid out for him to be able to see that he could actually make the Red Wings or have ice time here in GR. I think that's what it comes down to.
It's very possible.
this is where I want Detroit to crack the mold that exists right now and not just use Toledo for goaltender development. Let's start seeing some of these draft picks go to the ECHL for their first year of development. Let's see what they can do down there. As I stated before, based on that graph we saw, it's not too far off college, so they should be able to go in there and match their performance, right? You go in there and see a decrease, you might know what you have. But at the same time, let's start using the ECHL more as a development league instead of just that league that's got your seventh, eighth defenseman and your extra forward that you can call up. We started it with Cossa. It felt like we were the first team to throw a first round draft pick goaltender into the coast. Let's start doing it with some of these forwards and other guys too. Let's start truly using it as a development system. Because again, as I said earlier, no better group of guys to go learn how to be a pro from, honestly.
I think the coast one makes sense, but you see, I'll counter you. Doucette draft, we signed him out of the juniors, put him in Toledo. He was in Toledo for how many seasons?
One.
Did really well, right? Then comes up to GR, kind of can't find his footing here. At least this season,
He was
right?
undrafted.
Right. We signed him out of juniors,
So
sent him to Toledo. He had a great junior year though.
he did
In
a very
I know,
high scoring league.
Right, yeah.
It's going to be weird because this league isn't used like this yet, but I feel like there's just so much uncracked potential to use the coast as a true development league too, along with the American League. Like, if you have a guy that it's going to translate all the way through, you're going to make it to the NHL. You're going to be maybe a top 6 forward, who knows? But imagine what the AHL will get, what type of product they'll get out of a player that got to go in and get his feet wet that first year in pro. Maybe he gets, 5 games in GR through call-ups this next season. If that's the case, he's still a guy you want to be able to call up, but just use it as a development league. That's what I would like to see. I think that would be just a lot more fun for everybody. It would be great for the league itself. Obviously, that's a league where a lot of veteran players go to, and the veteran rules aren't as, strict as the American League, which goes back to the point of it's a great league to learn in. I don't know. It just feels like it's a miss especially with how well we have it within this organization all the way down to that level. Not every team has that. We're very lucky, and I think we need to use it more to our advantage.
We are very blessed to have what we have in Toledo. That is the biggest part. Not every team has a great situation where we could use Toledo and to our advantage. So
we've literally had players tell us their facilities in Toledo are nicer than most AHL facilities. It's a great place to go learn to be a pro, and that's what I would like to see them do with him, honestly, if he's going to sign. Let's start him in T-Town. Trav, for you, getting a player like Dylan James heading into the playoffs, if he matches the potential, how insane would that be for you guys?
I mean, that's game changer. That's a big piece coming in with a lot of big game experience. You're talking multiple college tournament games, big moments. Obviously still a rookie, so there'd be, that learning curve. But as a whole, it's just kind of I'm with you, Brandon. I've said it for years. I don't know why more NHL teams don't utilize the coast a little bit more. Now, some organizations do, Washington's a big one. Pittsburgh's become a very big one. They use Wheeling. They've had a lot of NHL, AHL contracted players in Wheeling this year. South Carolina, they've always had a lot with Washington and Hershey. So it's just kind of one of them deals to where I've always said, like in your, like what you said, if you get a guy that you drafted in the 4th or 5th round and you think he could turn into something, why not start him here for a season? Get him, a year of experience playing professional hockey, being around good pros. Toledo always brings in good professional players. You got Hawk, you got, they get Keens, Craggs, like Sawyer, all these guys that have been through big time playoff runs, big time games. The list goes on and on.
I have to correct myself because when I went to go do my prep work on him, I went to the website for North Dakota and it says he's a junior, but it says it for the 24-25 season. So he is a senior. So he is eligible to be signed. He is still unsigned. So he needs to sign the LC and then we can play somewhere.
He's still playing. So
yeah. Well,
hopefully losing to Michigan in the final. But anyways, no, good correction there because I wouldn't have fact checked you on it. Honestly, someone in the comments would have. So
yeah.
Good stuff there.
Cover my butt.
Yeah. Way to go. No, I'm not going to beat a dead horse on this one. You know by now what we think should happen with them. Last question from Rye. Do you believe after the last few seasons of late season collapses that this core's ceiling is playoff or can contend for a cup? If the ceiling is playoffs, how do you replace Larkin, Cat, and Kane so the next window has a higher ceiling? Not saying do it now, just how and when. Another Red Wings question for us here. I think I answered that question earlier where I said it wasn't them, but I'll let you guys go.
Should have went all in for Robert Thomas.
Oh,
you have
wrong.
2 different groups. You have Larkin and DeBrincat, late 20s, early 30s, and you have Edvinson, Raymond, Sider, younger to mid 20s, and then you add MBN. You add, that's another younger guy. You got to bring in another piece, another big piece that can help you. That's where I was like, you should have went all in, pushed your chips in, got Falk and Thomas. I think they'd been in phenomenal shape if they would have done that. So here's my thing with them too. So look at this team. What prospect comes to mind that is so superbly high skill, boom, big boom potential?
Max Plant.
No, he's a two-way guy. I'm talking like superstardom, big boom. They have never drafted for that high end potential player. It's always been strong 200-foot player, two-way player, can chip in a little offensively. They haven't gone out and spent the draft capital on that high boom, but there is a bust potential. They haven't done it. They've not done it.
We should do it with our first round pick this year.
I still agree with that trade, 100%.
100%, but I knew Nick was going to say something like that as soon as you started talking about that. I felt it coming.
That's where I would have went with Reshny last year.
I did see this, and this is interesting, is Dylan Larkin is in his Matthew Stafford era, right? Just kind of stuck, right? Begs the question, do you trade? You've gone through 3 coaches. The core is not that core. So do you start shifting, but then who do you trade for? What do you get back? Is that the move that's going to help move this franchise forward? People are going to hate to hear that, but they know that.
Especially with your previous episodes on Larkin. But yes.
Because I don't think you ever put out my apology to it, I did. Okay. So it's an interesting thing. I said it 2 years ago because the core, the ages don't match, right? I don't even know who you would go out to get to be able to help restart. I don't want to say this rebuild, but to get the timing better, to open up the window bigger, really is what you're trying to do, right? You can only open this window about half with who you guys have, with who we have right now and who's coming up to the pipeline.
Look, I think if you're a Detroit fan, you can't stomach the thought of we're going to go trade Larkin for a pile because how many people you've seen leave Detroit and go win championships. If you're a Tigers fan, you know the pain. If you're a Lions fan, you clearly know the pain. I don't know anything about basketball, so I can't relate this to the Pistons. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it really isn't. But he deserves a championship, too, at the same point.
He 100% does. Man.
Don't worry. Nobody's making it through this far, Brandon. They're already still stuck on your other point.
Just do better. Just do better. I don't know, man. I'm so glad every day that we cover the teams that we cover, because if this was a Red Wings show, I don't know how I could get through seasons like this. And that's why we leave it to our friends at Grindline.
Yeah, they do a great job of it, to be honest. Like what they were doing with stats and like breaking it down, like it is on a positive upswing. The team is doing better than what they have in the past few years, especially in March. So I've been impressed.
I mean, they're like on pace to hit north of 90 points. They haven't done that since he's been here, and like since Yzerman's been here. So they're continuously getting better. They're getting better, but they still just need some of that. Like they gotta find some more high end skill.
I want to go on record and say that I fully believe that them making it this year was not part of Steve's plan. And if they did, they did. And if they didn't, they didn't. And that this offseason is going to be massive for this team. And I feel like the transactions that everyone was waiting to see and the earth-shattering movements for the Red Wings are coming in the offseason. And if they can just make it in the playoffs, Steve's going to be like, yeah, cool, we made it. We show that we can do it with this roster. Here's this piece and this piece. Now go do it again and go deeper.
Like
that's how I feel like he's treating it. And if that's the case and I'm right, then I'm inside the head of the guy that nobody can get inside his head. And that's impressive.
He's gotten better
every year.
Little by little. Like you got Gibson, that's an upgrade. You went and got Falk, that's an upgrade. Like,
and he didn't mortgage the farm to do it.
When's the next big one? You need another big, like he needs a big one. He needs that Drouin for Sergachev type trade. He needs a big one like that here to really springboard things.
I was thinking about this because Red Wings Twitter has been all on me this week, which is whatever. But everybody will throw out like, hey, he signed Trot, he signed Hole, he signed Gustafsson, he signed this guy. Bergie wasn't included in that, but I'm going to throw him in there, right? He signed these guys. These guys are bridge deals. But I think too, is if you look at it, he's signed these guys, he's put them in the positions and then they didn't work out. He didn't just sit on these contracts. He didn't sit on these players. He's moved up. And the team has gotten better because of it. He is kind of GMing himself out of like the situations that he's put himself into, right? You're not going to get every trade right. He was very good at the beginning. He was like, man, it's so late now. I'm losing it. But the
De La Rose for Fabry
deal, yes.
Like
Fabry deal,
yeah.
Those deals like did so well. At some point, like you guys want to sign a player, there's nobody to sign. There's nobody out there. Like who do you? By the time we get to free agency, there's nothing left. There's literally nothing left.
Well, and that's what happens when the cap goes up. It gives teams more ability to retain their players. Like Florida had 3 of the top available guys last year, and they all re-signed.
It's tough. Right? And
it's
you can't
bad
trade.
Luck timing too. You haven't won a draft lottery and then the cap's going up, making it easier for other teams to sign guys. Like you're not getting lucky.
We're going to win it this year.
I think.
I don't know. I just don't think he's done a bad of job. I know it takes years. He said there's no timeline on it. A rebuild takes 10 years. He's 7 years into it. He said to build 2 teams. I'm going to continue to support it for 3 more years. He's been close to the playoffs 2 years ago where they overperformed. This year, that he would have made the playoffs, and if they were in the West, come on.
I mean, as much of a kick in the nuts it is to have to go through these seasons like this, at least you're still caring about hockey this late in the season. It could be a lot worse.
It's frustrating.
It could be a lot worse. But anyways, we could go on forever. I'm sure the comments will be full of fun ones after this one and our takes on this. All right, we'll move on from that there. That is all the questions. Thank you all for dropping those in there. We appreciate that so much. We'll do it again in the future where it's a little better structured with all the games that are going on. We'll have a nice little first round bye in the playoffs to talk through stuff like this too. So we'll definitely do this again. So thank you all for dropping those questions on Twitter there. Without going through a standings update, because we've gone on way too long with this recording, we're going to wrap this episode up here. So thank you all for tuning in to another Grand Rapids Griffins update from us. Stay tuned for a Toledo Walleye update later this week where we'll feature the mayor, Mr. Brandon Hawkins, joining Travis and I from the Huntington Center for a nice interview talking about the season so far down there, being named captain this season and his time up in Grand Rapids on his PTO. That was a lot of fun for all of us. Before we do go, though, we got to thank our sponsors of the show, DraftKings and Everything Hockey Clothing Company. When you're betting with DraftKings, use code THPN. When you're shopping at everythinghockey.com, use code WEST to save a few bucks off your order. And it also directly supports the show. And we got to thank our Patreon supporters as well over at patreon.com/Hockeytown West podcast. And those are...
We've got Michael Asante, Derek Sleezer, Ellen and Lori Fausch, Griffin Not From GR, Elaine Grace, John in Florida, Tyler Ingalls, Darren Swartz, Zach, Peter Grell, Bert, Rito, Bex, Joe Schroeder, Alan GR, D-Boss is D-Boss, and Jason C.
Thank you all for the love and support. Good job on Tyler's name there, Nick. All right, everybody, have a fantastic week. And until we talk again, as always, go Griffins, go Walleye.
Love you. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Hockeytown West podcast. Be sure to check us out on Twitter at HockeytownWPod and your hosts, Nick at GR Hockey Guy, Brandon at Brandon GR Hockey, and Travis at Trav in T-Town.